Welcome back to A Story to Tell from the campus of Dixie State University. I'm Lane Ron, and we're speaking today with Melissa Galbraith. Melissa, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
I read about you in the paper all the time.
Probably too much, but it's good to be here in southern Utah.
Have you been here before?
I've vacationed here before. A little hiking, a little swimming, but...
Eating out?
Eating out, yeah. Big fan of the pizza places around here. But yeah, first time living down here.
Where are you from?
Home is probably Sandy, up south of Salt Lake. Grew up there, went to school there, so.
You're lucky, I've never grown up. At least that's what my wife tells me.
That's not a bad thing.
What are you doing here?
I decided to become editor of the Spectrum and the Daily News. It was a good opportunity for me to inform the local community and kind of get a more hands-on approach. And
what were you doing before that?
I was working as an editor in Phoenix at the Arizona Republic.
The Arizona Republic?
Yes.
That's a famous Arizona paper.
It is. One of a few Arizona papers, but yeah, I had a good time there. It was sad to leave, but I was excited for this new adventure.
What were you doing there?
I was a copy editor, which meant I edited the articles for grammar and style and accuracy, and then wrote headlines.
Well, that must have been exciting.
Yeah, it was fun. Lots of trivial things, but a lot of good catches and always being up on the news.
What made you go into journalism?
I'd always been interested in current events. Growing up, that was always a big thing in my family, watching the news in the evening, reading the paper in the morning. Yeah.
Who did you watch on the news?
Dan Rather is who I remember.
Well, he's really famous.
He is really famous. And then Channel 5 is what we watched at our
Who on
house.
Channel 5?
Bruce Lindsay and Carol Makita. Those are the only names I can recall.
Are you old enough to remember Dick Norris?
Yes, I liked him.
Bob Weldy? He was the weatherman.
He was the weatherman, yeah.
Paul James was a sports guy.
I always tuned out after after the weather and before the sports. So yeah. So that love of current events and then just being able to edit. I was an English major, so did a lot of reading and writing. And when I found out you could get paid to edit things.
They pay you to do this?
I know. They didn't want to at first, but I talked him into it. Yeah, when I found out you could edit and get paid and read what was going on, it was perfect.
100 years ago, in my misspent youth, I was the producer of the News at 10 on Channel 5 with Norris, Weldy, and James.
Nice.
So I know a little bit about
it. I was going to say.
So be careful.
Okay, I'll only say good things.
Tell me about the editor. Explain what an editor does.
There are a lot of editors at a paper. The head editor, usually the editor-in-chief.
And that's you.
That's me. Kind of controls what we cover, basically. It's also a customer service aspect. I get all the calls from customers or readers who want to know, why did you cover this? Why didn't you cover that? I work with my reporters, help them to improve and to be the best they can be. Work with the photographers to make sure we're getting, images of things and videos. And I also kind of interact and liaise with the different departments, the production side and the online side, to make sure everything's up and running and accurate and interesting.
How do they feel about a woman being a big boss?
They haven't said anything yet, so so they're smart. But
Well, the women that are there will say, well, it's about time, and the men will say, oh.
Yeah. They seem very progressive and okay with it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
What's your biggest challenge being a chief editor?
Right now, it's just familiarizing myself with the community. You know, I'm up on the news, but I don't know exactly how Southern Utah residents feel about it, what's important to them. And also, you know, how do I want to structure the staff? Do we want to cover X instead of Y? Are we doing too much of Z? You know, just kind of finding that balance and finding out what works, what makes people not always happy, but
Do you want to make them unhappy?
I don't want to make them unhappy.
But if something does make them unhappy, tough, huh?
It depends what it is.
I'm not trying to speak
Right.
for you.
I like to challenge people.
That's good.
I don't think everything in a newspaper should be a reflection of yourself. You should be exposed to some different ideas. But we certainly don't want to offend. And so it's a fine line. Because some people are easily offended, and some people, you can show them anything, expose them to anything, and they'll be all right with it.
Some people are offended no matter what you say.
Exactly.
I had an identical twin brother that was that way.
Really?
Yeah. We fought all the time. Mother tied us one on each side of the house. Keep us apart. We were saved by our aunt who lived next door. She came and untied us. Well, let's not talk about me, though. So tell me about your family.
I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I've got a brother who's living in Boston with his wife and family, a sister who's in Midvale, Utah. She has a little girl, and then I have parents, mom and a dad.
Are they still alive?
They are. They're still in Sandy.
Sandy?
Still working. So.
What do they do?
My dad's in corporate trust, and my mom stays at home.
Well, lucky her.
Yeah. So
That's kind of not the modern way, is it?
well,
You can do both, I guess.
you can do both. You know,
Both or either? Or
there are no
both?
small kids around, so she volunteers. She takes classes. You know, does some editing. So stays busy.
Do you make the decisions, or do you have a committee that makes the decision what goes in the paper, what you cover?
I guess I'm the ultimate decider, but I get input from, you know, the reporters and others, from community members. So I
There's
guess
a fellow over there named David DeMille. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him. He's a great reporter.
He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. All of the reporters are.
How many
Nice.
reporters do you have working?
We have currently about 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
You cut one of them in half?
He didn't like that very much, but we're like, it's a necessary thing. So we have one who reports part of the time and then does production, you know, putting everything together.
Tell me
for
about
us. Him in general, or just in general?
Both.
Okay. Yeah, so we have David and Emily Havens, and then we have Terrell Wilkins, and he's the one who covers Mesquite for us. He does some sports, and then he does some production work. And then we have Ryan, who's up in Cedar City doing sports, and we're currently hiring for a Cedar City reporter. Ours left us to go to the Republic. So good choice, but we're sad, and we were sad to see her go.
She left to do what?
To work at the Arizona Republic.
Oh, so you.
We just kind of switched. I'm not sure they got the better of the trade, but.
Well, it must be exciting for you to look forward to doing this.
It is. It's challenging, it's exciting. You know, I get to interact with a lot of members of the community. You know, from university leaders to just residents, retirees, students, pretty much anyone who calls, I'll talk to them.
Do you do any of the reporting yourself?
No, not yet.
You say not yet, like you're anticipating?
You know, I might do an article here and there. if the need arises. I'll probably write a column every other week just to touch bases with our readers.
How do you determine letters to the editor, for example? How do you determine what you publish there?
Usually we go by date, the date submitted.
And you publish everybody that comes in?
Pretty much, unless they are foul-mouthed and offensive, or if there are accusations. It's not a bully pulpit
Right.
for people, but yeah, we don't value one opinion over another, but we do it by date just to be fair. Although if something were very timely, we might switch to a collection of those, on school shootings perhaps, moving them up in the queue.
Does the paper take positions on public events?
To be honest, I don't know if it has in the past. I haven't decided if it will in the future. I'm, still surveying things and deciding.
For example, would you write an editorial on the pipeline?
I'd have to educate myself more about it, talk to some people. I don't think it's a good idea to just shoot your mouth off. People take these things.
Well, that's unusual.
For me personally or the paper?
Well, people in general. Everybody has an opinion.
This is true. But no one likes it when a community voice,
Right.
speaks without knowing what they're talking about. So, I would like to, I think, eventually take a stand and, as a staff. But
Do you have a website? Do you do any
We do.
video reporting?
It's thespectrum.com. We've got a lot of articles and videos. We usually don't do standalone videos. If we have a video, it usually goes with a story that we've written. But I think you can tell a lot through video and images that you can't always capture with words. So,
Where have you worked other than here in the
I also worked at the Salt Lake Tribune.
Salt Lake Tribune?
Yep.
Wow.
Long ago.
What did you do there?
Gosh, I did a lot of everything. I was over the news desk, deciding what wire stories went in the paper. I was on the copy desk, and I led the features copy desk for a while.
And you went from there down to the Republic?
Yes.
How did you get the first job?
That's a funny story. I had a friend who was an intern at the Tribune, and she and I were talking, and I was working a retail job that I didn't really love.
What was that?
I was a greeter at a furniture store, like, when you come in, and I'd
R.C.
be
Willey?
Yeah. So I'd be like, "Hi, welcome to R.C. Willey. How can I help?" And it was a great company to work for and lots of good people, but I was looking for something a little more in line with my academic persuasion. So I was talking with this friend, and she was telling me about her internship, and I'm like, "That's amazing." And this is when I'm like, "And they pay you to do this?" She's like, "Yeah." So I was secretly jealous, but then one day she told me the second intern had quit, kind of gone to lunch and never came back kind of a thing. So I said, "Hey, you've got to get me a contact." So I sent in my very limited resume, and they took a chance on me. And then I was there for 7 years. So it turned out well.
Well, it's not the job you have, it's how you do the job you have.
This is true.
And if people understood that, they'd be very successful.
Yeah. I think too often they get caught up in titles or how glamorous is this?
Or they don't have any patience.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about medical people. That was bad, wasn't it?
But
What is the most important characteristic desirable characteristic of a journalist?
That's a tough question. I think I would say curiosity. Something.
That's good. I'll vote for that.
Okay, good, thank you. Something that drives them to want to know how things work. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this about? You know, where did that money go? How does this all come together? How does this affect us? That's the start. You start asking the questions, and those lead to the stories.
You mentioned Dan Rather. Why did you like him?
Partly because I didn't have a choice. Mom liked Dan Rather, and she chose the TV station.
Well, he was on CBS, and CBS was on Channel 5 then.
I think so.
Now they've
That's
switched.
okay.
Yeah.
Just a comforting voice, and you know, I was pretty young, so I can't speak to his, you know, journalistic qualifications, but I just remember, you know, he always presented the news, and it was just always in our house come dinner time.
You're too young for Walter Cronkite, I guess.
I am. But having worked in Phoenix, Arizona State University has the Walter Cronkite Center in their journalism department, and so it's a name I'm familiar with.
Well, they say that Billy Graham was the
America's pastor.
Walter Cronkite was America's journalist, I think.
A lot of people have fond memories of him and
Well,
his skills.
when they have a woman that's the America's journalist, it might be you.
It could be. I'm guessing it's going to be a reporter, however. They're out in the field making it happen.
Well, did you ever work as a reporter?
Briefly, for the staff paper at the University of Utah. The Daily Utah Chronicle. Uh-huh.
I went to the U.
Nice. A Utah man, are you?
What?
A Utah man?
That's how I got my job in television.
Oh. I can't think of the station there, but is that where you started?
Well, I went there to sell a TV set to the Daily Utah Chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
Put an ad in the Chronicle to sell a TV set.
Uh-huh.
And while I was there, the gal answered a phone, and it sounded like somebody from a TV station calling for help wanted. And when she hung up, I said, "Who was that? What was that about?" She said, "Lamar Smith from KUTV. They need to hire a part-time worker in the newsroom." I said, "What's the number?" Dialed it. "Lamar Smith, I'm calling in answer to your ad you put in the Daily Utah Chronicle." This was in 3 minutes.
That's service, huh?
This was the first part of the school year, September. I said, "Well, come down and interview." And went down and interviewed. I'd worked at KSUB in Cedar City as a newsman. And he said, "You sound just like the person that we ought to hire." But so I thought I had a job here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a junior at the University of Utah, had a job in television. A week goes by, and a month goes by, and 3 months go by, and I thought, well, fie on you. And the day after New Year's, I walk in the apartment, and the phone's ringing, and I answer, and I say, "Hello," and this guy says, "Do you still want to go to work?" It's Lamar Smith. "We need to talk about you, not me."
That's a good story.
But anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, so.
Are you looking to make any more changes at the...
Oh, sure. I'm not going to make them all in the next week. You know, I want to take my time. I'm listening to the staff, listening to members of the community. You know, I don't think people really like change. So I don't want to keep fiddling with things too much, you know. An experiment here and there is okay. But yeah, I hope to change the spectrum for the better. Make people a little more excited to pick it up, like what they see a little more. Maybe if they don't know all the things we offer online, to educate them.
What do you offer online?
We have great things. We have a lot of breaking articles, a lot of sports gamers, videos, columnists.
So this is all available online. Is it the e-paper or what? Is it just?
No, it's just a website. The e-paper is available if you want to see what the print version looks like while you're online.
I subscribe to that. Get an email every morning.
Okay. Then you heard about my article that I think it was on the list.
I've got a copy of it right here somewhere.
Stop. But
I
yeah.
said to myself, I should call her and get an interview. And then I said to myself, well, she's the editor of the paper. Why would she want to talk to you? You're here.
I heard about you, and I'm like, I need to make that happen.
Oh.
So, so yeah, just a lot of great things that you can't get in a physical newspaper. Videos, like I said, photo galleries. We just had a photographer of ours go up to Bryan Head over the weekend, and there was a competition of children skiing and snowboarding, I believe. Just adorable, better skiers than I am, which is not hard to do. Just, there's so much more space, if you will, and availability to run a lot of pictures and more stories.
Human interest always caught my eye. Talking about people and what they do. These young gymnasts and so forth in the Olympics, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, and
how do they do that?
And the dedication, they must have started when they were teeny tiny.
Before they were born.
Their mom had to get in on it.
Right.
But, so yeah, it's...
Bryan they had a big fire up there, didn't they?
They did.
Are they recovering from that now, do you know?
I must say, I don't know, I imagine. I was out of the state and not paying attention too much to my home state when that happened. But just knowing the devastating fires we had in Arizona, and that have raged
terrible.
across the West, they're devastating for people's homes, the forest, the environment, the economic
It's terrible.
things.
And the fellow that started it, that's a human interest story. He had a blowtorch or something, he was burning weeds, and that triggered the whole thing.
Wow.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's always sad when it's human caused.
Sometimes I think we focus in on the bad that's happening rather than the good that could come out of it or something.
Mm-hmm. Like forest fires, they're devastating, but ultimately they're better for the forest and, creates a healthier
Renew the forest.
environment. But yeah, there's a high cost.
High cost. Well, we've got a little bit of time left. What do you want to talk to about?
A little known fact about me, I've had a liver transplant. I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary. So.
Well, you're a walking miracle.
Thank you, I am. I had very good doctors down in Phoenix and a good soul who decided earlier in life to become an organ donor and let his family know his wishes. And I'm here today because of him.
He passed away and you got it.
Yes. I don't know any of the details really, but...
Well, that's probably good. I think all of us could do that, go on the list to be donors. Of course, at my age, they probably wouldn't take me, but...
it's amazing what they can use. And it's painless here, It'll be painless then. Right. You'll be dead. But they are doing amazing things with living donors as well. I just happen to be too sick to receive a living donor, but, a living donor's organ.
Well, how would a living person donate a liver?
Livers are amazing. They
they
regenerate.
Take a part of it, don't
yeah,
they?
they just take a part of it and they put it in the other person and then it grows back, which is, I think...
So that is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Living and dead donors.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what caused your liver problem?
It was a genetic problem. My immune system attacked my liver, thinking it was an enemy. You know, like when you get cold, it attacks the bad cells. So yeah, it just kind of turned on it and ate it up.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 30. I was fine. And then my doctor's like, you know, we might just have to put you on the list just in case. It was on Halloween when I was listed, and was feeling pretty good until about New Year's. And then it dropped off precipitously.
And how long did you have to wait?
About a month and 18 days. February 18th.
Do they have a hierarchy of the wait list or something?
For livers, it's the person who is sickest, who's closest to death. I know that's not the case as far as like kidneys. I believe that's the time you've been on the list. I'm not certain though.
Interesting, very interesting. What else do you want to tell us?
Just reiterate that I'm excited to be here. I want people to like the spectrum. I want them to be excited about it, to know that they can reach out, and yeah. And if they have top secret, you know, stories, I want them to call me. You know, it can be full of intrigue or just, you know, something they love about St. George or Cedar City or Mesquite.
Rather than the negative, the positive.
Right, yeah, something we can cover and share with people. Or if they know amazing people, we can profile them. You mentioned the profiles. I think they're so interesting. You really get to know someone that you might have walked by and not given a second thought about. So.
Well, I interview people. I interview the big names, the little names, and so forth, and it's surprising the stories that people have to tell. And the best ones, I think, have come from people that I thought would be a really boring interview. Well, Melissa, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We'll be in touch. This is Lane Rano from the campus of Dixie State University. Thank you for being with us on A Story to Tell.